Imagine you are celebrating your birthday with your two besties when a guy comes over and buys your two friends drinks while completely ignoring you. Well, welcome to my life. But it wasn't always like that. For most of my life, I was the prettiest of my friends. So whenever a handsome guy came over to approach us, I automatically assumed he was only interested in me, not my two ugly friends. Hey, are you girls going to see the Batman movie too? My friend Alma responded, Yes, we do. What's your name? That's when I leaned over to her and whispered, Sorry, Alma, but I don't think he wants to talk to you. Let me handle this. Hey, my name is Jessica. What row are you sitting in? I ended up switching seats so I could sit next to the guy, and we ended up kissing a bit. I guess sometimes I'm just a little... After the movie was over, I went back to my friends, and they were so jealous. I can't believe he chose you over us. Didn't he see my ass? Alma was correct. They both had better curves than me, but it didn't matter because their faces were far below average. They were ugly. I said, Girls, I warn you. If either of you two ever gets married to a handsome guy, be careful he won't fall in love with me and break up with you. I'm just too irresistible. You probably think I was a jerk for teasing my friends so much, but it was all in good spirit because we were besties. And as a girl, it's important to practice how to flirt with guys, especially if you're still in school. Because no matter the subject, as long as my teacher was male, I could walk up to him after class and ask him to improve my final grade. I would come up with some excuse and say, I didn't get a good sleep the night before the exam because my parents screamed at each other all night. Can you please upgrade my grade? Then I would start crying. I didn't just make my teacher feel pity for me, but I also made him feel powerful and important. Because he was the only one who could rescue this pretty little girl. Okay. I know that you can do better, so I will bump up your grade and let you pass the year. Oh my God, thank you! You are the best! Yes, I was shameless. It's probably not normal to hug your 50-year-old physics teacher. But what was the downside? I always made sure no other students were in the room. That's why my teachers felt comfortable flirting with me a bit. And none of my classmates could joke around that I was having an affair with our teachers or something like that. But here comes the plot twist. My two best friends, at the age of 17, got their parents' permission to get plastic surgery. Shockingly, there is no minimum age required for it here in the US. All you need is your parents' approval. And we are talking breast enhancements, Brazilian butt lifts, fake chins, and everything else in between. I could barely recognize them when they came back to school. Suddenly, I was the least good-looking of my friends, and I absolutely hated it. One time, a classmate asked us how we were, and I responded, I'm good. Oh, I wasn't asking you. I was talking to your friends. Huh? Why was this guy so rude to me? Well, Alma thought it was funny, and no wonder. I had teased her for years about being less pretty than me. Now the tables had turned, and she enjoyed her victory. Alma became the most popular girl in our school. Not because she had great character, but because her parents had paid doctors to stuff a bunch of plastic into her body. I was disgusted. Or maybe I was just envious. But isn't it unfair how many advantages rich people have? When Alma and I went to the cinema again, I told the cashier that I would take the small, salty popcorn. He didn't acknowledge my request at all. Instead, he smiled at Alma, who was behind me in line, and asked her what she wanted. Oh, thank you for letting me go first in line. I feel so special now. Then she flirted with the guy for 2 long minutes. Finally, I had enough and screamed at her, Screw you and your fake plastic body! I stormed out of the cinema, and only once my anger had faded, I came to my senses. I had bullied Alma about her ugly face for so long, and now I couldn't handle her being prettier than me for a few weeks. I was a complete hypocrite and wrote her an apology text. To my relief, she said she wasn't mad at me. But it got worse. While my boyfriend Seth, Alma, and I ate lunch in the schoolyard, Alma made a really unfunny joke. She said, What's brown and made out of wood? She paused for a second and said, Wood. It was such a bad joke, but my boyfriend Seth couldn't stop laughing. And that was no coincidence. Before Alma had gotten all her plastic surgery, my boyfriend had always disliked her. One time, he even called her an annoying pig. But now that she was hot and pretty, he loved talking to her. So much so that I always became the third wheel when we were together. And it hurt being ignored. Finally, Alma went away, and I told Seth, If you love her so much, why don't you just try to kiss her next time? Oh God, are you jealous again? Just because I talked to your best friend? Seth never admitted to doing anything wrong, and worse, he judged me for being jealous. But of course I get jealous if my own boyfriend likes another girl more than me. Well, it only took another week before he broke up with me. He said I was too clingy and he didn't have time for a girlfriend due to the upcoming final exams. The breakup really hurt, and to make things worse, just 1 month later, Alma came up to me and asked if it was fine if she started dating my ex-boyfriend Seth. Out of the hundreds of guys in our school, you chose my ex? He hit me up on Instagram, and then we watched a movie together at his home. You did what? I got so mad I was about to rip out her dumb chin implants from under her skin. If you start dating Seth, I'm gonna kill both of you. I promise you that. Yeah, I was losing my shit. But it's no wonder. Within 2 months, I'd lost my whole identity. If I wasn't one of the pretty girls anymore, then who really was I? And anyway, wasn't it kinda sad that guys only wanted to date me because of my looks? Didn't I have any other redeeming qualities that could have made Seth want to stay in a relationship with me? I thought for a moment, but couldn't think of any positive character traits I possessed. Maybe it was true. Maybe I was nothing but a mean bitch. Well, the next day in class, I tried to be kinder and asked one of my classmates how her day was. She immediately started talking about her alcoholic dad and how he was super abusive. She kept talking on and on. That's when I realized that I wasn't one of the nice girls. I wasn't interested in her or her alcoholic dad, or really anyone other than myself. I told her, "Shut up, you talked enough," because otherwise she would have talked about her shitty family until sunset. I now knew who I was, a selfish and narcissistic little brat. I wasn't going to become Mother Teresa or Gandhi. No, I had to do something else, and guess what I Googled next? Cost breast augmentation, Los Angeles. Actually, the prices were lower than I had expected, only $5,000. But unfortunately, my parents were too poor to afford that. But then I had a realization. Upgrading my body wasn't really an expense, but rather an investment. If my hot body could get me a husband with a high salary one day, then it would easily pay for the plastic surgery bills. That's why I walked into a bank and asked for a $25,000 loan. What's your age and what will you spend the money on? College? I'm 16 years old and I want to get plastic surgery. That day, I learned that banks don't give out loans to desperate teenage girls in need of a breast augmentation. But I'm smart. I just faked some documents to make it look that I had already graduated high school. I pretended to be a prodigy who had jumped 2 classes and now wanted to go to Harvard. I guess it's shocking how quickly they gave me a loan. And because Harvard is expensive, I got $60,000, which covered the cost of surgery for my whole body. However, because it took several weeks for my body to recover, I missed my final exams in high school. That's why my principal wanted me to repeat the whole year. Who did he think he was? I am a straight 10 now. I can get whatever guy I want, which means I don't need to get a degree or find a good job. So I just dropped out of high school. Most people watching this video probably hate me because I'm telling things as they are. But when you're as hot as me, you don't care about the opinions of some haters on the internet. What matters is that guys love me. And even my ex-boyfriend Seth hit me up again on Instagram. He said he made a huge mistake with breaking up with me. Too bad, I'm so out of his league now. Thank you for watching Share My Story. And if you like our animated stories, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.
When I just dragged my suitcase to the front yard, Dev, my brother, opened the door and excitedly hugged me. "Welcome back, sis. I've been looking forward to this day." "Me too. I hope my new life with you and Dad will be great." Dad was already waiting for me in the living room, but unlike Dev's excitement, he was cold.
"Keep in mind these rules when you stay here. Keep things clean, stay tidy, and never bring animals home."
Dev patted my shoulder softly. "Come on, Dad, she just arrived. I'll help her. Don't worry, Tia." "Hi, I'm Tia, 15 years old. After my mom remarried to another man, I moved in with my grumpy dad and wonderful older brother. To me, Dev is the greatest brother on earth. He's gentle, kind, and is there whenever I need him. But one day, I changed my mind completely after discovering his shocking secret. Once, on my way home, I saw a dog chained to a chair in the park. It looked so lost and terrified. Maybe its owner forgot it? I picked it up and asked everywhere, but no one accepted it. At difficult times like that, I always call Dev. My super brother could solve everything. Only 10 minutes later, he came. He worriedly picked up the dog.
It seems hungry, so I bought some sausages.
But because of panic, the dog bit Dev's hand. I panicked. Are you okay? But Dev only smiled and gently patted the dog.
I'm fine. The dog is scared, so it reacts like that. It's not at fault.
At that moment, I felt so lucky to be his sister. He's really the kindest person on earth. We waited until the dog's owner came to pick it up and then returned home. When we came home, as soon as Dad saw us, he rushed over with a magnifying glass, scanning us from top to bottom. He suddenly grunted.
What is this? Animal hair? Do you hide animals in this house?
I was so scared. No, we don't. Dad continued to walk around the house, rummaging through every corner.
Don't try to fool me.
Dad quickly reassured them.
We accidentally bumped into a dog on the road, Dad. We're going to wash our clothes now. Don't worry.
He finally calmed down and went into his room. I asked Dev, why does he hate animals so much?
Yeah, a few years ago, a big feral cat attacked him and got him wounded. He held a grudge since then, but it's sad because I love cats so much.
Dev is truly a warm and gentle person. Well, until someone touches his bookcase, I think. It's a huge collection of classics. Dev always told me in a serious voice.
You absolutely must not touch my books, okay? They are my treasure.
Sure, I'm not very fond of books anyway. I won't touch them. But then one day, my bestie Zenny begged me. I really need Uncle Tom's Cabin 1971 edition for my presentation next week. Can you borrow Dev? I'm sure he has it. No, he refused. Please! If you get it for me, I'll lend you the limited edition dress I bought the other day. Really? Promise? Yeah. Well, okay then. I saw that book once in Dev's huge bookcase. Surely he wouldn't agree to lend it, but among hundreds of books, I'd only borrowed it for a few days. He probably wouldn't notice. While Dev was away, I sneaked into his room. That book was so high on the case that I had to tiptoe and reach it with all my might. Unfortunately, I lost my balance and fell forward, hitting the Frankenstein book with my hand. Suddenly, the bookcase slowly rotated, revealing an opening like a door. Unbelievable! There was another secret room behind the bookcase. I walked in curiously. It was dark and pretty creepy. I turned on the flashlight from my phone and slowly made my way inside. OMG! As soon as the light hit the ground, I saw some dark and red dried spots. They looked like blood! Is this why Dev won't let me near his bookcase? I quickly ran out of there. When the secret door was just closed, Dev returned. Seeing me in the room panting, his face darkened.
Why are you here?
I just wanted to borrow a pencil. Dev stared at the bookcase and asked.
Really?
I put my hands out in front of Dev. Yes, look, I didn't take anything. The day after, I thought a lot about that secret room. What's really down there? And whose blood is that? It was even more suspicious when I saw Dev sneakily washing a shirt right that evening. Why didn't you just put it in the washing machine? My sudden appearance startled him. He hid the shirt behind his back and stammered. There are some stains on it. I have to wash them by hand. But when I looked at the basin, the washing water was red. It reminded me of the blood stain in the room. I mustered up the courage to ask him directly. That's blood, right? I saw similar stains yesterday. Dev darkened again.
Yesterday, you were in my room.
It was my turn to stammer. I don't remember. Maybe it was some other day.
You must never set foot in my room again. Is that clear, Tia?
After saying that, he coldly returned to his room. Never have I seen my gentle brother become so scary. Since that day, Dev kept a distance from me. Every time he went out, he locked his door carefully. But still, I couldn't keep that strange room out of my mind. One day, I came across an abandoned cat. His leg was badly injured. It kept whimpering painfully and it made me so sad. But that time, I didn't want to call Dev anymore. God knows he'd do to it. I shook my head and cleared the dark thoughts and called Denny, but she sighed. I'm sorry, but my parents are allergic to cat hair. Suddenly, it rained. I hugged the injured cat and tried to find a shelter. It was really cold, and I didn't bring an umbrella, so we could only wait. Out of nowhere, Dev appeared with an umbrella.
Give it to me.
Scared, I hugged the cat and shouted, "No, stay away!" Dev stared at the cat, pleading.
Please, I can save it. Listen to me before it's too late.
After a while, I finally agreed to go home with him, even though I was full of fear. When we got home, he covered the cat with his coat and signaled me to quietly sneak into his room, not to alert Dad. He locked the door, pulled the Frankenstein book out, and the secret door opened.
Come in.
I hesitantly stepped inside. Suddenly, several whimpers resounded. I was startled and stepped back, but Dev said gently,
Don't be afraid. It's just the sound of injured cats.
When the light was turned on, unexpectedly, I saw up to 10 cats being treated there with food and medicine. Dev put the injured cat on the table and expertly bandaged it. I was surprised. Why do you have to hide this?
It can't be helped. Dad hates them. I once brought home an injured cat, but in a panic, it scratched Dad so bad that he had to get several stitches.
What did he do?
He took the cat far away and abandoned it somewhere while it was still injured.
Dad even threatened that if he saw animals in the house again, he would beat them up. Turns out, when they first moved into this house, Dev had discovered the secret room by accident. He decided to turn it into a secret shelter for the injured animals and hid it from our dad. I asked, "What about the shirt the other day and the blood stain?"
I was carrying a very seriously wounded cat, so its blood got on my shoulder. The bloodstain was hers too.
Then he brought me closer to a cage. Inside, there was a black cat sleeping soundly on a soft mattress with a carefully bandaged neck.
There she is. I named her Tulelo, Hungarian for survivor.
Oh, so I had misunderstood my brother. Dev is still the warmest and kindest person in the world. From that day on, we both took care of the poor animals together. Dev's biggest dream is to become a veterinarian, and I'm supporting him with all my heart. And what about his secret room? Now it's become our secret.